It's King Earner coming to y'all live and direct. What we're doing is we're giving out a message to the world. The message we're giving out to the world is to honor their life. That's what each campaign. For the past, what I would say, 2 months, 3 months, the first honorable speaking was on Perks Are For Jerks. Perks Are For Jerks was something I spoke on, giving the youth knowledge and understanding of the opiate drug, giving them an understanding that some of them that was good football players, basketball players, and things of this nature, when they got an injury and they went to the hospital and they came back with them little 19 or 20 perks, the way it destroyed them, the way they can't move around after 3-4 days high and they try to take the medication away from them, is because it was an addiction. It's called a withdrawal. They begin to sweat. Some of them begin to go outside and chase money because they recognized that it had to be the drug. But the ones that didn't recognize that it was the drug are the ones that actually making the biggest mistakes out here in this community. Some of them are going to jail. Some of them are actually stealing from their own parents to complete this drug and make it understanding in our community when there's no honor in it. The second thing I spoke on was re-entry back into society. A lot of people came for that. The reason why a lot of people came for it is because you have to remember, there are a lot of grandmothers, mothers, and sisters, and girlfriends and wives taking care of these young men in prison. And when they come home and go right back to jail, they want to get an understanding of that. My third recap was single mothers. Single mothers gave everybody an understanding that their foundation of their community is indeed the single mothers. I say this because they are the ones that's raising these young men in this neighborhood. They are the ones that's raising these young ladies in this neighborhood. Without these young ladies and these young men having these mothers, they wouldn't get as far as elementary school probably. Because the mind frame of the average young man in the community is to become $1 million man selling drugs when the goal should be just to have an education, simply and plain. Tonight I'm speaking on, it's a heavy topic. It's a topic that's going to confuse a lot of people because they didn't expect for me to get this topic the way I'm going to get it. The topic is NERDS versus Gangsters. I don't know anybody in here that's a nerd. I'm looking around, I don't see no nerds. So what I try to do is just with the attire, giving off a little nerdy look, but it didn't work out because the shirt loosened up a little bit on me. But the truth behind it is that I don't want anybody from my community to be a nerd nor a gangster. The reason why I don't want the people from my community to be a nerd or a gangster is being as though the nerd may get killed quicker than a gangster will. How many people remember going to school and that one guy who sat in the back and didn't speak to anyone? He was always finish his work on time. He had the tightest clothes on. He had the biggest glasses on. But he never conversed with a soul. There's a reason why that young man or that young lady didn't converse with a soul. The reason is they may have a lot of problems going on at home. Or simply, the education drives them to a mentality that they think they're not even amongst society. Now, some will say that's more honorable to me, Hodge. I would tell you that it's not. If you go to a lot of sites and you get an understanding of these sites and you get full drill behind these individuals, you're going to find out a lot of them are people that have suicide on their mind. The suicide they have on their mind has nothing to do with education. It has to do with everybody expecting them to be the best at what they do. So all elementary, that kid got straight A's. All middle school, straight A's. High school, straight A's. You put him in our Ivy Leaf college, can't function because he's beginning to get the A's, but at the same token, he's beginning to see that he can't get an A on every test. And some of these tests is what the people have to understand and get an understanding of, is that these tests actually don't have nothing to do with that individual's grade. But yet that individual is more concerned about this small test that has nothing to do with him bettering himself in life. They take one test, some of them, you'll put them online, and they'll make threats to society, the same society that they've been hiding from, but they'll make them threats. I'm going to kill myself. I'm going to take these pills and overdose and die. Some of them have even went into the schools and may I say made a souls of Columbine rest, because these individuals had no goal and no reason to go ahead and kill everybody in the school. Will try their best at doing it. But because of what's going on in their mind, we will never know. That's why it's not something for you to do. So you find yourself getting education and you find you reading every book. I would like for you to be sure to look at the author of the book before you read it, because it may be something that throw you left mentally. A lot of people don't understand that. And that's what happens with a lot of educated people. My grandfather used to call them educated fools. Now, if you look at the words that is used, you would say, how, when this guy get all A's, his mentality can't catch up with what's going on in everyday life, because his intelligence precedes itself. So, you got to get the nerd out of your mind. We're going to go to the gangsters. I always, when I was a kid, wanted to be a gangster. You can't tell me nothing about a gangster. At all, period. Anything that had to do with a gangster, I was all for it. You know why? The people that gave me the knowledge of the gangsters was the people I loved, and that was my grandfather by the name of Curtis Reed. Now, my grandfather gave me an understanding of this. He said, when he was younger, coming up, all he done in the streets of North Philadelphia was run around and shoot marbles and look for little robberies to do. He was born in 1928, so what we thinking? 1938, this probably, or 1948 this took place? Money wasn't even worth, it was worth so much, it was worth a lot, and the people would try to get very little of it to make ends meet. And he said he began to robbing people. Petty thief. He robbed so much that his neighborhood, they gave him the name John Dillinger. Anybody know who John Dillinger was? He was a robber. He robbed them wherever it took. He went in and robbed and took what he could take. My grandfather gave me a smooth, clear road to success from these gangsters. He taught me how they walked, how they talked, to the point where as though, if you look around in our city of Philadelphia right now, matter of fact, we're not even going to talk small. If you look around the whole world, they're using the word honorable from those of honor. I help restore that. I get that to the people. That was part of my language as a child coming up. So these gangster movies, you put them in my face, and I would see them, and I would see how John Gotti moved. My grandmother had, I love my grandmother. I just hope she never really had a real thing for John. It was just like something, TV-wise. But when he would come on, you would think he was a civil rights mover, the way she would put me in front of that TV, and she would give me the understanding. And the first time she done it, John Gotti was getting in his vehicle, and he pulled out a $50 bill. And he gave it to the bum. And when he gave it to the bum, he said, how much was that? The bum said, oh, thank you, leave the man alone, get him out the way. He said, how much money was that? He said, that was only so. They said, She said, do you always give, the commentator said, do you always give bums money? He said, everybody deserves a score here and there. Gave somebody, and I honored that because he didn't have to give who he was giving. All these rumors you hear about the lies of this gangster being in Lewisburg Penitentiary, having to turn and go against the blacks. It was a lie. Never was no truth to it. The man had nothing but honor in his heart. But he also had a side of him. When you find these gangsters, you'll find they got a side of him that makes quick decisions and care less about life. They have a tendency of caring about their own, but taking from everybody else. But taking the weak individuals, they feel as though they can help and give back only because of their conscience and their mind frame and their heart. And you know they're wrong. When you find these leaders, that's these gangsters, in place, I'm going to tell you that although I had nothing but love and respect, and I looked at them and I wanted to walk and talk and be just like these dudes. I wanted everything I've done to be organized just like this. You're going to find out that these dudes, man, like I said, I honored this, the biggest losers out of life. The reason why I say they're losers because it began to be hypocritical to go outside and murder every day and then come in a home and act like nothing never happened. When your kids finally find this out, they want to pick up that you're a liar, you're a fraud, and maybe they may pick up being a fraud because it's hypocritical. I don't care who it is. I can look the bat and sat with them. I done been in the federal penitentiary with all type of dudes like Guy Fisher, Cold Gangster. He told me, he said, it's all an illusion, youngin'. It was nothing to it. The biggest illusion was the woman with the biggest butt. They got Nicky Barnes and put him in a situation about a woman. He's supposed to have been the biggest gangster. So you see the weakness in gangsters. In our community, in our society, we can't have the nerd or the gangster. Somehow it's going to clash and it's going to be incorrect. If it ain't them going at each other, cussing each other out, judging one another about each profession, it's going to turn into a thing where as though our children, the whole society, the world we live in is going to be just like these people. You have people that's overweight, that if you say something to them on Instagram or Facebook or any of these social media, some of them will kill themselves. Same thing about these nerds. Well, I'm going to give it to you another way. You say something to one of these gangsters on this social media, you might get killed. Both is out of order, so we can't, a dude that might have not gotten into trouble, he's not a nerd. Them guys ain't nerds that never been in trouble. They're called intelligent men. Why you gotta be a person gotta consider that this is the lane or the factor for a man that's doing the right thing and say that's a nerd? It's not. Steve Urkel wasn't a nerd. He was too happy. Most nerds have no happiness to their life. The gangster's no good. So what do we have left? People, we don't got nobody else that anybody in our society is looking at. Who's looking at anybody else? Everybody want to be like Bill Gates and Puff Daddy or 50 Cent. Everybody want that money. It's one man in between. And I'm going to give that example through one man. I was going to try to give two men, but I'm going to say one man. And he's in the industry, in the music, and that's Reverend Run. You see, notice how his life changed? Everything he do. I'm a Muslim, but I'm speaking on what we see on people on the surface. We ain't looking to judge people in the hearts, because I can't rip your heart open and find out who you really are until you show me an action. It's better to be a man of God. The man of God has the understanding of life. He's the thoroughest in my book. The reason why he's the thoroughest in my book, he can stay consistent in something that has to do with pleasing his God. So even if you don't respect it, or you're not a person that believes in God, you can see the royalty in that person and say, you know what? Maybe I need to take from him his royalty, his honor, his strength, his character, how he speaks, and how he's able to continue to relate to the people without it being about a buck. That's what it's about. You see, some of these guys that get up here and they'll tell you that being a nerd is what it is. I'm telling you that it's not. Some people won't tell you that being a gangster is what it is. Again, I'm telling you, no, rate of that. It's not. The man of God is the one for you to take a focus and look on and say that's what you want to be in life. If you think you're going to be a drug dealer and be rich, I'm going to give you the jewels and understanding of that. I done came at the drug game before 2010, before I was released from prison. I came at the drug game about 50 different ways. Even down to the con job, the spin, the whatever you want to do, they got to do with this. I had it mastered. Can't tell me about no money. You never see me as a millionaire, but you know I always had, and I always, if it was a goal, I reached it. I can't get an understanding of the mentality of a drug dealer. Although I'm the guy that was the drug dealer at the time. It don't make no sense for you to go ahead, get you a number or whatever it is, and 2 years, 6 months, next day, it can all be taken away from you. Where's the psychological sense? And you'll find out that some of these gangster drug dealer bulls, they smart. They got all the sense in the world. Look at the honorable brother, man, in his way. Well, I don't even know if he's guilty or not. But they locked him up and put him away. The brother Aaron Jones. That man was intelligent, still is intelligent. He's an intelligent man. Look at Skag Murphy. Very intelligent man, but because the illusion tricked them a little farther than us, they on death row. So you're telling me that there's some kid somewhere that's a young boy that's looking up to a drug dealer in 2017, when I'm going to tell you that most of them is getting their car repoed, they're dead popped. This is what I mean when I say they're dead popped. I become a millionaire. I have millionaire responsibilities after a while. Them drug dealers, yeah, they millionaires, but they handling they're scuffling. They're trying to pay the $1 million responsibility that they have got in their hands now. And they rather have said, I don't want to be a part of this. If they had, if you catch a drug dealer, he'd give you the same message. If you catch a drug dealer that's on death row somewhere in a federal penitentiary, he'd give you the same message as a man that dies and goes into the earth that want to wish he could come back and tell everybody of the torments that he received in the grave. He's going to have the same, tell him don't do it. I'm never coming home. Take a look at Kabani Savage. They got that man in a 1-by-1 cell probably. I'm just saying that because that's literally probably how small it is. He can't talk to no one to get some type of comforting. They say in these federal penitentiaries when they put you away forever, the cell that they put you in is quiet where no one else can hear you. Same way the depths of that hellfire can be. Everybody getting punished, but no one can hear the pain because they hear somebody else get that relief. It's like, yo, I feel some relief. He may be getting it more than me. Can't. Now you got Wayne Perry, Gangsters. You got Nicky Scarfo, Gangsters. Kabani said, all these dudes is in prison. And you mean to tell me that the goal is to get these kids this understanding and 95% of them in our time right now don't even know that it's wrong to be a drug dealer or a killer. So we got 1,000 motivational speakers getting a check, but don't nobody give them the truth or the facts of life. Everybody just worried about themselves. It all revolves back to the same thing. No one's giving some type of understanding of mankind and saying, we care. Don't do that. I got bit that way. It's not happening. So you see the gangster, he turns into a piece of shit. Excuse my French. But that's what happens because if you just genocide, you worse than, what's the guy, Hitler. You worse than Hitler. You put all your people in one room, send a bomb in there and just kill them all. This to everybody. This ain't to a person like I'm just saying this and I'm giving it to y'all like I'm better. No, I'm talking about me at a time also. Where's the honor in telling this young boy that thorough? I never done it, never was in my heart. But if I consider if a dude was waist length, I'd give him game and show him some honor. But that ain't honor. I'm destroying this kid. So the gangsters ain't shit. They worse off than the nerds. Just when we thought we was thorough, calling everybody suckers, looking at his tight ass pants and causing these people to harm themselves and shit like that, we're just as bad as them. So what I'm doing tonight, I'm hoping that the message is clear to everybody. Don't be a gangster because a gangster can't help you. You still could be a thorough guy. Look at me, I'm still the same guy. But I just won't be controlled by everybody else's method. I'm not going to do it. You're not going to tell me the sky's green and I see damn well it's blue. It's the same difference. So you think you around a young boy and you shooting dice or you tell him to get out of here. That's how I was in the streets. See a pregnant lady walking up, come on. We call ourselves feral niggas. If we feral Negroes, niggas, whatever you want to call yourself, but you're not a nigger. You know what I'm saying? None of us is niggers. You know what I'm saying? A nigger acts on being that. That's what he is, a person that's ignorant. So, but you got these little brothers that you know you can get them something different. We need more of the Rasheed Wallaces now. We need them. We need the LeBron James. We need people to really step up and say, you can be probably better than him, instead of saying, hey, take that, man, get with me tomorrow, man. This shit jumping out here. Don't make no sense, because you're killing these youngins, man. But we don't dig it, though, when we're in the mix. Because don't nobody tell us. So when people pull my coat like, damn, I like what you're doing, tell them this, tell them that. You know what I tell them? You tell them. I'm telling them what I need to tell them. Why don't you have the balls or the heart or the courage to tell them? You know why? They had no strength. A man of God got the strength. A man of God, he's home with his family. He understands the problems he's done. If you look at Christianity, I'm going to give you two people. One person from Christianity, and I'm going to give you another person from Islam. In Christianity, you had Paul, who was Saul first. Saul was a persecutor of the Christians, specifically. On his way to Damascus, his scales, as far as what the Christian bibliology say of it, his scales fell off his eyes and he began to see clear. And he's supposed to have come over to understanding who God was in their form. In Islam, you got Umar radiallahu anhu, who was a terror amongst the Muslims, non-Muslims, whoever. Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he prayed for him. He prayed for two of them. One it was one of the people that was against him too. I can't remember. May Allah forgive me. I think it may have been Abu Lahab, rahimahullah ta'ala. And he, no, I'm sorry. May Allah forgive me. Yeah, it might have been one of the two. But I know Umar was in it, and Umar came to him. And when Umar came to him, he came with the understanding of the Quran, because he heard his sister and his brother-in-law crying and reciting the Quran, and he came smacking and smacked it out of their hand. And then he picked it up and began to read it and said, "Who gave you this?" He said, "The Rasulullah, the messenger of Allah gave it to me." He came there, and when he got there, Hamza welcomed him in. He said, he'd come in, if he's coming for peace, alhamdulillah, but if he's not going to leave with his head. I'm going to take his head off his shoulders. That day, he become a Muslim. That very next day, he said, come on, we're all going to the masjid. All of us. No, we can't. No, we're going. And this is where the courage came from, the strength. There was a people of ignorance. They say that it was so bad that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala doesn't even allow us to comment on these people in reference to their days and their times of Jahiliyyah. The things that they've done, their days of ignorance. They were ignorant. They was the worst of mankind. And he made them the best of mankind. They were burying their daughters. So they couldn't keep producing kids, so they had to feed them. They was murdering everything. They were the worst of people. But it shows again, they became the best of mankind based off them following what God said. Don't follow what Hodge say. Don't follow what nobody else say. Follow what God said. Although some of y'all may still follow after the night, remember that God is in control. You have no wind. I'm a man, been in the streets all my life. And I haven't never told nobody this before. I've been shot several times close range, but the bullets never hit me. Several times you go out here, look, ask them, how many dudes can put money on my head? How many? Allah got me standing here, not me, not my slick, tough ways, not my supposed to be gangster wits. Allah blessed me because at the end of the day, he knew that I make it save a nation of children that's coming up, like the next generation. I make it save them because at the end of the day, they're going to say, Cuz was super thorough. And guess what? He giving out truth. How can a person once told you that his lifestyle was based on that give you this? How can he do it? God. It's no other way. I'm up here because of God. I'm a man like everybody else. I sin regularly like everybody in the crowd. But I beg for my forgiveness. I understand what's first. So I'm telling everybody today, get it out your head. Get the nerds out of your head. If you're a nerd, tomorrow morning, get some contacts, because you shouldn't have to have these glasses no more. Get some contacts, looser pants, and you come in there and you take that's supposed to be gangster, been selling that 120 pack for his old head for the past year. I'm taking your girl and leave out with her and your education. And guess what? Marry her, become an honorable man. You know what I'm saying? Hold on, Shiz, we gotta take a seat, brother. We're talking, baby. You know what I'm saying? So at the end of the day, what we want to do is we want everybody to get an understanding that nerds versus gangsters. If you're a nerd, stop it. You can be a regular guy, have education, put your clothes on, switch it up, tell your mom what you want to do. If you're too big and people are disrespecting you online, they're hurting themselves. They're not hurting you. How? You're cool with you being regular size. So what I'm going to do is tonight, I'm going to end this message. I'm King Erner. My Instagram is KINGEARNER1. My Facebook is Hodge JailLivers. Be sure to come back, man. I appreciate everybody that came tonight, man. It was an honor to see y'all, man. Keep coming. The honor gonna make it work. You hear me?
We heard one side. Try to give them the other side. Feel this ain't a diss to nobody that rap, but I'm tired of hearing about all the bodies and crack, or how you was flipping pies, or telling how you ride, but you never wanna tell them how you was getting robbed, or when you get booked and the judge playing God, give you life in the box, when you live, then you die. Never wanna tell them about single parent moms who strip to survive, still struggling and strive. Never wanna tell them how feelings need jobs, first tell them about the telling.